Hello, good morning everybody. I want to welcome you here to this channel. The channel is called Prog Monster. It is dedicated to mostly progressive rock, but other forms of rock music too. My name is Murph and I am the host of that channel. Or this channel, I guess is the best way to say it. So we're here to do the episode we do pretty much every Sunday. In fact, I've done it every Sunday now for over a year. Although it goes back about 3 years. I did have a break from it for a while and then decided to re-put it on as some people wanted it back. So the show is going to be called This Week. It's a channel, basically it describes what's going to be on the channel for the entire week. And this week is November the 9th to 15th. This is episode number 170. Wow, I would not have thought I would ever get to 170 on anything, but here we are. The channel, basically we're talking about what the content is for the regular shows, a little bit about what we're doing for the series that we're running for the month, and then in addition to that I may discuss things I'm doing in the future, and I may bring up some stuff in the past. So the only past one is a couple of shows were late, mostly due to uploading from the internet, not really any other reason, nothing spectacular. I think I did change one show. Yeah, it was the look back at a classic rock album. I had put the Iron Maiden's the Book of Souls in there to do, and then I realized once I got to starting to do my research on it that I forgot that album had come out in 2015, so it made it ineligible. It has to be at least 15 years or older for that particular show. So I took it out, and we will actually be doing that this week, but it'll be a one-off. And I put in the Judas Priest Painkiller album instead, which I had also was one of two other albums that I was considering for that spot, and decided that one was the better of the two, so I'm going to put that in. So this week, everything else other than that, everything else went pretty smooth. So this week we have a total of 9 regular shows, plus the 7 series episodes, and then one off, which will be the Iron Maiden one. So we'll get into it. The first episode, of course, is this one. So this will come out at noon today. That's my goal, uploading notwithstanding. So that will come out Sunday at 12. And then the next episode up is Into the Prog Verse, which will be featuring my live CD collection. So basically, all the videos all the DVDs I have of live concerts, I'm going to go through them. At least the progressive ones. I do have quite a few that are non-progressive, but I will go through the progressive ones. So we're going to be featuring, this is one of the albums we'll be featuring this week, and we'll be talking about all I think there's 6 of them all together. So we'll be talking about that on the Into the Prog Verse, which will come out tonight at 8 o'clock. Hope to see you all then. Next up is look back at a classic rock album. This is a album that is older than 15 years, and at least on my ranking scale, at least a 2.5, a 1, or a masterpiece album. And for me, I've chosen this album, Time to Turn, sorry. This was the other album that I was considering for last week's episode, but decided that it was a little bit, it's only been on my playlist maybe not even 5 months, where the other one had already put in about 6 or 7 months worth, so I figured it was its turn, plus it ranked higher for me. So that will be my look back at a classic rock album this week. That will come out Monday at 8 o'clock. Next up is the mini-series. This will be the final episode of Decades. That's the title of the mini-series, in which Ben, a subscriber friend of mine, gives me a group and 15 of their deep cuts. And then I listen to the deep cuts and rank them according to how I like them. So for most of the last couple, I've been pretty familiar with a lot of the stuff, so it wasn't too hard. This one might be a little more different. Many of these songs I'm sure I'm going to be familiar with, but aren't familiar with connecting the title to the song. And we're going to be doing this album. We're not doing this album, but doing this group, Thin Lizzy. We're doing 15 deep cuts from Thin Lizzy. This will be probably the final episode. Maybe Ben may decide that we want to do an extra one. Maybe he'll do a 7th one. I'm not sure. But for sure, we're going to do this one this week. And that will be my mini-series, Decades, which will come out Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the evening, sorry. Next up is the Favorites, which comes out on Wednesdays every week. I'm continuing with the current theme that I've done the last 2 weeks, which is my 5 favorite debut albums from my given year. The year that we're going to do this week is going to be 1969. So basically, I'm doing 4 episodes of this. I did 2 already. This will be the 3rd one. I'll do 1 more for next week, and then we'll move on to a different topic. So, yes, I'm going to pick my 5 favorite debut rock albums from the year 1969 on Favorites this week, which will come out Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. It's normal time. Next up is Thursday. It's the ranking of the songs off an album. I started this kind of consistently about maybe 2 months now. We've been doing it. It used to be kind of a one-off. At one time, it was a show before, and they kind of took it off. But I've continued. Decided to continue. There's still quite a few groups that haven't had an ranking of the songs off an album. I'm trying to just give one ranking per group and choose an album by them. So I've chosen to do this album this week. The Voyage of the Acolyte. It's really hard to see because of the blue print on blue. Great artwork, though. Fantastic. This is Steve Hackett, of course, if you can see that. And we'll be doing that, ranking the songs off of Steve Hackett's debut album from 1976. Came out, 75. So it was in that kind of window of opportunity that occurred when Peter Gabriel left Genesis and Phil Collins took over the vocals in Genesis. So that year, 1975, there was no Genesis album. It was kind of the first time they'd not had one. Many have said that this is the lost Genesis album. I understand why. You've got a couple members of Genesis other than Steve Hackett on here. You've got Mike Rutherford and you have Phil Collins also on this album. So it kind of has 60% of the original Genesis band, or the Genesis, their classic lineup. But I've listened to it. I don't think of it as a lost Genesis album, but I think of it as a very good album, though. So we're going to do the rankings for the songs off of that album, Steve Hackett's Voyage of the Acolyte. So that will come out Thursday at 8. Next up is Who Did It Better. This is a show that Ben and I put on every week. He actually picks the song and the bands that are involved, and I kind of listen to the stuff, and then I tell you who I think did it better. So the song he's given me this week is very famous. I can't imagine there'd be very many people watching this that didn't know the song. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, originally done by the Beatles and then covered by Peter Frampton. So we're going to talk about the 2 versions of the song, and then I'll tell you who I think did it better. And that will come out Friday at 8. On to the weekend. So on the weekend this week, we are doing the mid-month episode of Playlist. This is a show in which I talk about what it is that's in my playlist, what albums are in my playlist. Basically, I give you all the albums that were taken out of the playlist since the last time, and all the new ones that went in. I give you a top 5, my 5 favorite albums that are on the playlist currently. And we talk a little bit about what music I've been listening to throughout the month, like what runs. I tend to do, I have 4 stacks, so I do my playlist music. I do new albums I've purchased, and I listen to those. I do the stuff that's waiting to go into the playlist so that I don't get unfamiliar with them. Some of them I remove after I listen to them. I said, I don't really want to put them in the playlist, so I pull them off. Did that with a couple albums in the last month. And then I also give you what runs I'm doing. So I'll pick a band run where I'll pick 3 or 4 of their albums and then put them in there to play regular. I get into a mood to listen to them, so that's what I've been doing lately. Plus any albums or any group that I really wanted to listen to all of their stuff. And so that's what we do for playlists. That will be Saturday at 4 p.m. That's going to be a regular slot for this, I think. I think one week I put it at 12, but I think it seems to fit better at 4 for me because oftentimes stuff comes up that I normally do at 12 o'clock and I want to do that then. Okay, so, and then the last episode of the week will be, or the last regular episode of the week will be What's New. I've chosen a band called Axillo. I'll get it yet. The album is called Quantum Phase Transition. This is an album that was released earlier in the year that I skipped over in favor of another, but I decided that I wanted to, every once in a while I want to go back to an album that came out earlier in the year that I missed and throw it in there, and so that's the one we're going to do this week. And I hope that will be of interest to you. So that's going to come out Saturday at 8, its normal slot. Then we have the series for November that we're running, which is my 30 favorite rock lyricists. So moving along, I made a couple changes. One of them late last week and one of them early. So one that came out today, I think I changed it out with somebody. I thought this guy should have been in there. And the guy that was in there, I wasn't really sure I really wanted him in there. And that's the case with the second guy. The first, up to about 15 or 16, they're all pretty much interchangeable. And they're not just interchangeable with each other. They could be interchangeable with some of the ones who didn't quite make it. So after having listened to this guy most of the week at different intervals, I said, you know what, he really should be on this list. So I took out somebody else who I liked, but I wasn't sure they should be on the list. So I think that's the only 2 I've done. And so we have another 7 for this week. I hope that you will enjoy this list as we go along. All these writers I like. I think they're almost essential to the music that they're doing. If you didn't have the kind of lyrics that they were doing, maybe they wouldn't be nearly as good as they are. So I think it's important to kind of honor that. And then I have a one-off this week, which is it's called Recent Album Reviews. I've done a few by this. So there may be like 6 or 7 in the playlist. I can't remember the last one I did, but this one is going to be the Iron Maiden's book, The Book of Souls, and that's the reason why it never ended up on Look Back at a Classic, because it isn't quite there yet, but it definitely deserves to be reviewed, and so we're going to do that for this week. It's a one-off. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to squeeze it in. I'll probably squeeze it in where I have an opportunity to, so if I get an opportunity, I will do it. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I will be, the one show consideration I'm doing is a 10 greatest and most influential prog rock band type thing. That'll probably end up coming on favorites. It'll probably happen, and I'm thinking this will be the show I do for that slot at the end of November that I haven't filled in yet, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And as for next month's list, still not 100% sure. I do have the one that I mentioned a few weeks ago, and which I don't have in front of me here, but that's likely the one I'm going to go with, but it may change. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Look Back at, this episode of This Week, episode number 170. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want, you can leave any comments about anything I've said in the comment section, or if you have something that you would like to see me do, you can put that in the comment section, and I can see where I can work it in and let people know when it might be able to put it in. I do these on occasion. I've had a few people suggest things, and I've tried to work it in. The last month's series was a suggestion by somebody, so I followed that because that's what he wanted to see. Anyways, I hope to see you all throughout the week. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good evening as well, and we will see you all here tonight, actually, on the Prog Monster. Take care and goodbye.